We're joined by the cast of the new series Groupie, the blueprint of a self-made millionaire. The show follows the journey of 6 women with complex lifestyles who learn the art of becoming a professional groupie from Bella, a self-made millionaire, played by Renata Facci. And joining us today, we've got Renata Facci, Catherine Nunes, Alex Calderon, and Princess Bay, who play Maria, Chastity, and Sydney, respectively. And joining us again, we couldn't keep him away, is Wes, who was with us not too long ago talking about this series. He's the director of one of them. So good afternoon, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Good to see you again.
Good afternoon.
So, Renata, could you tell us a little bit about Bella's character and what actually drew you to her?
Okay, well, Bella, I don't want to give too much information about her backstory yet because you haven't seen it on the show, but she had a very rough past. Anything from, being on the streets and being played by men and, anything that a woman can go wrong in a woman's life, I would say. And she made a choice to, stop that. And, some women choose to get a corporate job. Some women choose to do something else. Well, she decided, I'm going to get back at all these men and let's see. And, she started this whole journey where she just, is basically using these men to get to the life that she always dreamt of, and finds these women that help, to help them.
Yeah, and she's quite confident and assertive in the show. How did you go about developing that personality?
Well, that was actually the hardest part, because, unless you live that lifestyle. But in my mind, even Bella in the beginning, she probably wasn't this confident woman. Yeah. She had to fake it till she made it. So that's what in my mind, I was like, well, I'm going to fake it till it's believable. So in my mindset, I was like, listen, I got this. This is it. I can do this. So I was just in the mindset of what was she thinking when she, was trying to get to that mindset. So just fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Did you have any particular favorite scenes to film as her?
I would say, definitely when the first time I'm meeting the girls. Yeah. That was my favorite one so far. But, there's more to come. But that's definitely when you see all of us together and then, we're interacting with each other, I would say that's my favorite part.
Why was it your favorite part? Is it just that interaction?
Yeah, definitely it. Because, this story goes in so many different directions, and not all the scenes are, all of us together. And then, you see every girl different, life paths. And then this is when you see us all together and see how it all starts. Because, from here, it's going to go in so many different directions and it's going to take so many different turns. But this is where it all began. So that's why it's like, even in my mind, it's like, this is the most important thing in this whole story.
Yeah, I wanted to say that the dynamic of them all, because they all actually kind of just met that weekend. Wow. They didn't, the cast, remember I told you in the past interview that the cast turned over a couple of times.
Yes.
So the fact that they all met pretty much that weekend that we shot, and they meshed so well and was able to grab that chemistry was awesome. So it was a real authentic thing of them sitting around trying to get to know each other's stories, stuff like that. So that was real cool.
So did you all have natural chemistry, or did you have to do a bit of acting initially?
For me, it was all natural. I felt like when we got together, it was almost like this synesthetic energy beam, and it was like everybody was just locked in. It felt so right. It felt so real. It was easy. Yeah.
Yeah. And Alexis, you play Chastity, the rock groupie who dates mainly rock stars from the 80s and 90s. How did you go about preparing for that character? Did you have to do research about 80s and 90s music?
Yes, a little, but also not really at the same time, because me as a person, I also love rock music. Yeah. So it was pretty easy for me. But definitely, I definitely dove in, got a little bit more information. Of course, you can never have too much information, but yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think it is about 80s and 90s music that is so enduringly popular with different generations?
For me, it's like a little time capsule. It's like this, it's like precious. Like it's like something that happened in this beautiful moment in time that's never gonna happen again. And it was just booming and surging and so lively, and like it was a movement, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 80s was wild.
Yeah.
80s was lit.
The rock lifestyle is still seen as quite wild, isn't it? So why do you think it is that Chastity pursues relationships with rock stars when there could be risks and complications that come with the lifestyle?
Yeah, so I don't think this has been said in the show, what you guys have seen so far, but she and myself actually come from a religious background. So for her, I think being drawn to that lifestyle is her rebelling against everything that she's known. She's saying like, you know, I don't have to be what you tell me I am. I'm going to choose my own destiny. And guess what? This is what it is. Deal with it. Like,
Yes. So, Catherine, you play Maria. So, what is it about wealthy and powerful men that she exclusively dates them?
Well, Maria, she is somebody who naturally just gravitates towards luxury, and she's always wanted nice things in life.
Yeah.
It's like she's always dreamt of like being, you know, this like rich, luxurious woman. So there's only two ways to get that. Either you marry rich or out, because the jobs that she kept choosing weren't necessarily like, you know, sitting well with her way. And she's like, let me just take my talents into the corporate world. And, you know, it works out for her for a while. But, you know, I think that her main thing is just she has a family to provide for. And even though she likes nice things and she likes her, I don't want to give too much away. I think I gave away already, you know, but yeah, I think she just, you know, she comes from a place that she has to provide. She has to provide, and she has to do it quick and easy. She doesn't have time to waste. Yeah. You know, that's Maria's character.
What kind of research did you do for the role? Did you have to understand the world of finance and politics?
I would say that, like, naturally in my real life, I do tend to date corporate men. So the research has been like, I mean, I feel like I didn't have to do too much research because, yeah, I'm already kind of like, not saying that like life imitates art, but in a way it does. Life does imitate art in so many ways. So naturally, I've already been put in those situations where I'm like, okay, this role kind of came easy to me. Yeah. Like to get into character wasn't something that was like too difficult or far off.
And were you cast because of your similarities in dating wealthy men, or was that kind of an accident?
I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know anything about the wealthy men thing. Yeah, you know, Catherine.
Well,
Catherine was really like, I didn't know anything about her. She just, you know, I loved her personality.
Well, you know, yeah, my personality pretty much on Instagram is very like, you know, like, I don't know, tell them, Wes, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was just, you know, obviously I knew she acted. She's acted in other stuff for us. She's an actress, and we kind of met through a mutual friend, and then we talked about the role, and you know, she told me that she related to certain things about it, because she's a family person herself. So, you know, when you find out one thing, and we had the interview, if they can find just one thing that they can relate to, I don't care what it is. It could just be that we're both, you know, females. I don't care what it is. You know what I mean? If they can find out one thing, whatever they want to lock in on.
Yeah, I think that like as an actor, you have to find truth in all your characters. You know what I mean? So like, if for me it was like, let me, you know, I do have a mother and I do have kids, so I do have to provide. And in my head, I'm always like, yeah, I got to get to the bag. So like, I do go hard for everything I do. And I feel like Maria and Catherine have those two things in common, where like, one, we value ourselves, so we only date certain type of men. And two, we have a family to provide for. So it's like those two things, you know, Catherine and Maria are very similar.
Yeah. And did you have any challenges when playing the role, or were you two so similar that it was just like being yourself?
Not to like, not all the way, because like she was a porn star. I wasn't a porn star. She was a dancer. I wasn't a dancer. I don't even know how to dance. I mean, I can have a couple salsa moves, but you know, she's definitely a hustler. I think that Maria overall, like, she's just a hustler. So that characteristic is something that I can like relate to.
Yeah. Now, Princess, you play Sydney, the hip-hop groupie who dates only hip-hop artists, record executives, and producers. How would you describe her personality?
I think with all of us, we have some type of relationship with our character that's similar to our own personalities. And so I think Sydney is very raw, and so am I. So it's funny that she's a rapper. She's very, she's a little rough around the edges. And so I am too. Like, I'm not the like glamour girl. Like, you know, I'm more like, I was a tomboy growing up. Like, I didn't start wearing heels until like my last year in college. So like now there's duplicity like in that. And I think that's the same thing with Sydney. Like, if she had it up to herself, she's going to be super chill. But she knows how to turn it on when it's time to get them coin. So, yeah, I think that's something that we have in common.
Were you able to rely solely on your own experience, or did you have to do a bit of research to find out about this world?
One of my cousins is actually a rapper. So like when I was a teenager, I lived with him at one point. And so I knew a lot. You know, I knew a lot about the world. I didn't necessarily know. I did know about the groupie world because there were always women around. Like literally, I would wake up and I would be like, who is this person? And so I really got to, and it's funny because at a young age, you look at that and there's judgment placed on it. But obviously, like as an actor, you can't judge your character. You can't look at it negatively. You really have to look at it from a perspective of what's driving this person to do the things that they're doing, right? You have to make it make sense for you, even if it's not something that, because I ain't no groupie, but you have to make it make sense for you, right? And so you look at the stakes and what Sydney has been through and what she's lost and where she's willing to go. And so the stakes are so high that she's going to stop at nothing to get there. And so that's kind of how I like approach it.
And we mentioned earlier about the chemistry that you lot have together. It's quite rare to get pretty much the whole cast of a film or series on an interview together. So I guess that's an example of your chemistry, that you're here together and there's been no bickering so far and you all want to be here.
I don't like none of these. No, I'm joking.
I really believe in this project. I think that Groupie is something that a lot of women are going to be able to like, one, relate to, learn from, and just gain a lot of just knowledge, because these experiences are based on some true events, not all of it, but so I think it's beautiful that women can come together and not like be competitive and just be here for like the bigger picture, which is Groupie.
Just be a good person, as it says on your shirt.
It's my shirt.
What is the overall message that you'd want the viewer to be left with when watching the series?
For me, I think I want it to be like a female empowerment type of thing. I think that it's easy for people to misconstrue something like this as like, oh, you're like trying to like degrade women, or you're trying to like reduce them to like sexual things or whatever. But it's like, these women are choosing to do this. They're choosing to take part in this lifestyle. And especially for my character, like she doesn't have like this crazy life thing that's like forcing her to feel like she needs to do this. This was her 100% choice. And I think that it just speaks to, it's empowering. It's like, for her, this is a part of her journey where she is taking control of her own life. She is making her own decisions, and that's her MO, and that's okay. So for me, it's empowering. It's like, yes, I can do this. I'm not afraid to do this. I can be this person. Let's go. So
I guess there will inevitably be people who will argue that it's the opposite of empowering. So how do you treat the roles with respect?
I mean, I think with like all of our characters, we all have a purpose. And when you have purpose, really nothing else matters. Like in real life and movies, like if you have a purpose for why you're doing what you're doing, then people's opinions really don't matter.
right.
And that's how I, that's how I move in my real life. As Maria, I have a purpose. This is the reason why I'm doing this, and no one can tell me anything.
And it is a controversial topic. Like, we are aware that there will be people that, judge, but this is something that we show. And, even if you don't, you don't take away, become a groupie, because that's not the message.
Yeah.
It's if you put your mind to something, in my mind, if you put your mind to something as a woman, because usually women are the ones that are heartbroken and are used, and so we're putting a whole different perspective. Like, okay, now we're gonna flip the switch, and now we're gonna show that if you put your mind to something, you can be just as bad, and just keep the goal and your mindset. And these women chose to do this, but you don't have to do this. You can do so many things. Just put your mind to something and then go for it. So that's the message I would like to send.
Yeah, it's almost like if you're gonna be a groupie, this is how you got to do it.
You want to
be the best groupie you can be.
Like if you're gonna do it right.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's also important to, and I love that the way that Wes constructs the story in showing each of these women's backstory. Because it's one thing to look at a group of women and be like, oh, this is all what you're doing, but there's character development there. So when you look at these backstories and see where they came from, then now you see them as a whole human and not just as this one-dimensional character, right? And so whenever we humanize anyone, we tend to, even like when we watch movies, there's a bad guy, right? But then there's times when we feel bad for the bad guy because what made him be that way. And so and I think also, like with art, it's like you're telling someone else's story, right? And as much as people could look at this and be like, oh, that's degrading, this is the life of many, many women, right? And men, right? So there's many people who actually go through this, and we're just like the vessel to tell that story for them.
Well, what's coming up for everybody? Have any of you lot got any more acting roles, either together or apart?
No, they're mine. They're all mine. mine. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
I just shot a co-star for a Netflix comedy called Survival of the Thickest.
Yes.
No. It's about a plus size model and like all her perils. It's based on a book. And so I have a small role in that. And then I also just shot a co-star for an Amazon show that's coming out called Fallout. It's based on like this video game. So Christopher Nolan is one of the executive producers. I have no idea when it's coming out because it's like half sci-fi, half period piece. So it's like a lot of post-production that has to be done. And so I'm just like waiting for both of them to drop. But other than that, I'm just, I'm auditioning.
Yeah.
Same. I'm just auditioning. I'm signed with a talent agency, so I'm just always auditioning, trying to get my next co-star role. But I'm just here working. I'm also into like fashion and stuff. So if you guys follow me on social media, you'll see all like my fashion stuff.
You're killing it on the gram.
For me, if you want to see me in something right now that's also out, I'm the lead in a project on Amazon Prime called The First Time Club. So I have that. Go watch that, y'all. And then I am working on a project called Jammers, which is basically about girls roller skating through Miami and selling drugs. However, it's really cool, guys. And it highlights the fentanyl crisis that's happening in America right now. And it really like shows that whole side of life and like what's going on with that and how it's basically an attack on America. So that's not out yet, but that is what I'm working on, another project that I'm working on. So
Nice.
Yeah, and just to add my couple cents in here, I just finished a film that was based actually on a Stephen King story, so I was very excited about that. And then working on a series right now where I'm a complete opposite of Bella. I have this like full sleeve tattoo, and I'm this like female thug kind of character, which is very interesting when you put it, next to Bella. So, and so I really enjoy playing her. And in June, I have a film coming out where I'll be a lead. So, we're all keeping busy and trying to move forward. But Groupie is our eyes.
Yes. Somewhere in the middle of all of that, I'm gonna snatch them back. We're gonna finish the.
I'm only promoting Groupie. I have other projects out, but I just right now, because this interview is for Groupie, I'm just promoting Groupie.
Yes.
So episode 2 should be out in a couple of weeks. I don't know when, but we're gonna be, putting it out there.
Well, in the meantime, Groupie, the blueprint of a self-made millionaire, is available on Tubi online. So many thanks, everybody, for coming on. It's been great having you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. First episode.
Yes.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you again for the good conversation, the good questions, and thank all of you, of course, and I'll see y'all soon and then later.